The night sky was torn apart by thunder. Clouds rolled heavy above the mountains, and rain poured down over the forest. Each flash of lightning lit the cliffs for a brief second, showing dark wings moving in the storm. Dragons circled high, their roars mixing with the thunder, fierce and cruel. In the middle of it all, deep inside a rocky cave, a small life struggled to survive. A baby dragon lay on the wet ground, wings too weak to lift him, claws too small to fight back. His scales were pale, his fire had never sparked, and his cries were soft compared to the thunderous voices of his kind. He was different, too weak, too small, too fragile. The larger dragons, the parents who should have protected him, had turned away. They had judged him unworthy. The father's roar had echoed like a death sentence, and the mother, with cold eyes, had carried the hatchling to the cave's mouth and cast him into the storm. The little dragon tumbled against stone and dirt, wings bending painfully as he rolled down the slope. He cried out, a high, broken sound swallowed by the rain. He tried to crawl back, claws scratching, but the shadows above shut him out. His family was gone. He had been abandoned. Now the storm swallowed him. The ground shook with distant roars as if the whole sky mocked his weakness. Every flash of lightning lit the wet forest around him, and in those brief bursts of light, eyes gleamed in the dark. Predators. The forest was alive with hunters, waiting for him to fall silent. The baby dragon shivered. His small chest rose and fell fast. He tried to spread his wings, but the rain pressed them down. He tried to spark a flame, but his throat only gave a weak cough of smoke. The forest crept closer. He was not strong enough to fight. He was not strong enough to run. He was going to die. But then, another sound cut through the storm. It was not the growl of a beast. It was not the roar of a dragon. It was heavy steps in the mud. Boots. A beam of pale light cut through the rain. Steady. Moving closer. A human soldier was patrolling the border that night, his rifle slung over his shoulder, his eyes scanning the trees. He had heard the cry. At first, he thought it was a wounded animal, something small. But as he drew closer, he froze. Lying in the mud, shivering, was a baby dragon. His breath caught. Every story he had been told, every warning, filled his head. Dragons were killers, enemies of mankind. Their fire had burned towns to ash. His orders were clear. If he saw one, even young, he should kill it. But the soldier did not lift his rifle. He only looked down at the small creature, and something twisted in his chest. The dragon was tiny, its scales dull, its body shaking. This was not a monster. This was a child left to die. The baby dragon looked up at him with wide golden eyes. There was no hate in them, no fire, only fear. Its cry was soft and weak, a plea in the middle of the storm. The soldier knelt down, rain soaking his uniform. He hesitated, hand trembling as he reached out. If the creature bit, if it called its kind, he would be dead. But the baby dragon did not move. It only stared, wings limp against the mud. For a long moment, the soldier's mind battled with his orders. He should leave it. He should not risk his life. But his heart made another choice. He could not walk away. With a slow breath, he slid his arms under the hatchling and lifted it. The baby dragon was lighter than he expected, bones thin, body cold. He gave a weak cry but did not fight, pressed against his chest, trembling. The soldier looked back into the storm. Above the mountains, far away, he could hear the distant roars of the dragons who had abandoned their child. He knew if they saw him carrying it, they would kill him without mercy. His own people would call him a traitor, but in that moment none of it mattered. He pulled his cloak around the tiny creature, hiding its fragile body from the rain. The baby dragon's eyes slowly closed, its breathing soft against his chest. The soldier felt its warmth, weak but alive. "Don't worry, little one," he whispered, though his voice was lost to the storm. "I've got you." The forest around them seemed to watch. The predators in the dark stayed back, growling low, their eyes glowing. They smelled the soldier's gun. They smelled the fire still sleeping inside the hatchling, and they did not dare attack. The man turned and walked back into the storm, boots sinking deep into the mud, carrying a secret that could cost him his life. He knew what he was doing was madness. Saving a dragon was betrayal, but leaving it to die was something he could not do. The baby dragon had been abandoned by its own kind. Its last chance was not in the claws of its family or the mercy of its kin. Its last chance rested in the hands of a human stranger, a man who had seen too much war, too much death, and still chose mercy. As the soldier vanished into the night with the fragile creature in his arms, lightning split the sky. Somewhere far away, the dragons roared again. Somewhere else, human soldiers marched on patrol, unaware of what he carried. The world was changing, and it began with a single cry in the dark. The storm passed by morning. The clouds broke apart, leaving the sky gray and heavy with mist. The soldier sat beneath a cluster of trees, his cloak wrapped tightly around the small dragon. His rifle rested by his side, but his eyes stayed on the fragile creature curled against him. The baby dragon's breathing was steady now. Its golden eyes opened slowly, blinking at the new light. For a moment, fear filled its gaze. The human was still there, the giant with strange armor, strange smell, strange eyes. The hatchling's wings twitched nervously, and it let out a soft hiss. The soldier only raised his hands, palms open. "Easy, little one. I won't hurt you." His voice was low, calm, but his heart was racing. He knew what this meant. If any scout found him, if anyone from his unit saw this dragon in his arms, he would be branded a traitor. He had seen it happen before, soldiers who tried to save enemy children, enemy creatures. None of them lived long after, but still he stayed. He reached into his pack and pulled out a piece of dried meat. He held it out slowly, keeping his hand steady. The baby dragon sniffed, then pulled back, unsure. Hunger gnawed at its tiny belly, but fear held it back. The soldier waited. His arm ached from holding the meat still, but he didn't move. He just let the little creature decide. Finally, the hatchling stretched out its neck, teeth brushing the meat, and snatched it away. It chewed clumsily, swallowing too fast, then licked its lips with a soft chirp. The soldier almost smiled. "Almost. You're hungry," he whispered. "I get it." He gave it more, piece by piece, until the hatchling stopped shaking. Its eyes softened, no longer wild with fear. For the first time since the storm, it rested its head against his arm. The soldier froze at the touch. Warmth spread through his chest, strange and unfamiliar. It had been years since he had felt anything close to trust. But trust was dangerous. He looked at the horizon. Smoke curled from a distant village, one of many towns that had suffered dragon fire. His own scars burned at the memory. Friends lost, homes destroyed, lives shattered. Dragons had done that. Dragons had taken so much from him. And yet, here he was, holding one in his arms. His mind whispered, "You should end it now, before it grows, before it becomes like the rest of them." But when he looked down at the hatchling, at its small claws curled tight, at its fragile breath against his chest, the thought died. This one was not like the others. This one had been thrown away. Hours passed. The soldier moved carefully, hiding his tracks as he carried the baby deeper into the forest. He needed shelter, a place away from patrols, away from eyes. He found a cave near a riverbank, half hidden by heavy branches. Inside, the ground was dry, safe enough. He laid the hatchling on a bed of leaves and watched it curl up. Its tail wrapped around itself, wings folding tight. It looked almost peaceful. Almost. But peace did not last long. That night, the forest carried new sounds. Loud roars, deep and sharp, rolling across the mountains. The soldier stiffened, rifle ready. He knew those voices. Dragons were hunting, searching. The baby stirred, lifting its head. A soft whimper escaped its throat. It knew those voices too. They belonged to the ones who had cast it out. The soldier whispered, "Quiet, they can't find you." But he knew the danger was real. Dragons had sharp eyes, sharper noses. If they discovered a human soldier hiding one of their kind, they would not forgive. They would burn him alive. And even if they didn't find him, there was another threat, his own people. Rumors had already been spreading in nearby towns. Farmers had spoken of a strange light in the storm, a human figure carrying something winged. Soldiers were starting to whisper. If his commanders discovered the truth, he would face a firing squad before sunrise. Two worlds, both enemies, both ready to kill him for the same reason. For protecting a creature that no one wanted. He sat in the darkness, rifle across his knees, the hatchling's small body pressed against his leg. He felt its warmth. He heard its faint breathing. He thought of all the men he had lost in the war, of all the nights he had sat alone, wishing for something to fight for beyond orders and blood. Now he had found something. A fragile life, abandoned by its own kind. A life worth protecting. But protection came with a price. By dawn, the soldier had made his choice. He would not give the hatchling up. Not to the dragons who had thrown it away, not to the humans who would use it or destroy it. He looked down at the baby dragon, who blinked up at him with tired eyes. Slowly, cautiously, it crawled into his lap, curling against him as if he were the only safe place in the world. The soldier placed his hand gently on its back. The scales were cool but soft. "We're in this together now," he whispered. "Danger or not." Outside the cave, the world was closing in. Dragons searched the skies. Humans sharpened their suspicions. Both sides would soon be hunting. But inside that cave, a bond had been born. A bond between a scarred soldier and a fragile hatchling. A bond that defied war, defied fear, defied orders. It was a dangerous bond. A secret that could change everything or destroy them both. Days turned into weeks. The soldier and the baby dragon moved from one hiding place to another. Forests, caves, abandoned farmhouses, anywhere that gave them cover. The bond between them grew stronger with each step. But so did the danger that followed. The hatchling was changing. It was still small, still fragile, but its wings had grown stronger. At night, the soldier helped it climb onto rocks and taught it to spread its wings against the wind. At first, it stumbled and fell, crashing into the dirt with pitiful chirps. But little by little it learned to glide. "Try again," the soldier whispered, his voice low but firm. "Don't give up." The baby dragon looked at him with golden eyes, then leapt once more, wings flapping hard. This time, it stayed in the air a little longer before tumbling into the soldier's arms. The man caught it and let out a soft laugh, the first true laugh he had felt in years. But while their bond grew, whispers grew louder beyond the trees. Farmers spoke of strange shadows moving across the night sky, of a human traveling with something winged at his side. Hunters claimed they found tracks, claw marks in the mud too small to belong to a beast, too large to be from a bird. The dragons, too, had noticed. Scouts flew low over the valleys, their eyes sharp, their roars echoing as they searched. They had realized the weak hatchling had not perished in the storm. It had survived. And worse, it was with a human. To them, this was unforgivable. The shame of a rejected hatchling living among humans was a stain on their pride. The elders sent word. The hatchling must be destroyed, and the human who protected it must burn. The soldier knew it was only a matter of time before both sides came for them. He saw patrols in the distance, human soldiers moving in groups, rifles ready, scanning the trees. He knew their orders without hearing them. Find the traitor, find the dragon, eliminate both. The nights grew restless. The soldier slept with one eye open, rifle close, listening to the soft breaths of the hatchling beside him. The little creature trusted him completely now, curling against his chest for warmth, chirping softly when afraid. To the dragon, the soldier was family. To the soldier, the dragon was the only thing left worth protecting. But safety was breaking apart. One evening, as the sun bled red across the horizon, the soldier led the hatchling along a river path. The water shimmered, the forest quiet except for the steady sound of rushing current. For a moment, it felt almost peaceful. Then the hatchling froze. Its wings twitched, eyes narrowing at the sky. The soldier felt it too. A vibration, a shadow passing above. He looked up. A dragon scout was circling, its black wings stretched wide. Down, the soldier hissed, pulling the hatchling into the brush. They crouched low as the shadow passed. The soldier held his breath, hand tight on his rifle. The hatchling pressed close against him, trembling. The scout roared once, circling lower. The soldier's heart pounded. If the scout spotted them, there would be no escape. He aimed his rifle, finger on the trigger. But firing meant exposing their location to every soldier and dragon nearby. It meant war. The dragon scout passed overhead again, slower this time. Its golden eyes scanned the trees. The hatchling gave a soft whimper. The soldier's grip tightened around it, whispering, "Quiet, please, quiet." At last, after what felt like hours, the shadow drifted away. The scout turned back toward the mountains, its roar fading into the distance. The soldier exhaled slowly, but he knew this was only the beginning. They had been seen, or at least suspected. More would come. That night he built no fire. He and the hatchling sat in silence beneath the stars, the forest alive with unseen eyes. The soldier spoke softly, almost to himself. "We can't stay here. They'll keep hunting until they find us. Both of them, my people, and yours." The baby dragon tilted its head, listening as if it understood. His tail curled tighter around his arm. The truth was clear. They were hunted by two worlds. To dragons, they were traitors. To humans, they were enemies. Nowhere was safe. The soldier looked into the hatchling's eyes, and a thought came unbidden. Maybe we don't belong to either side. Maybe we have to make our own. The hatchling chirped softly, leaning into him, and the soldier felt his chest tighten. For the first time, he wasn't alone. For the first time, he had someone to fight for. But far beyond the forest, armies were moving. Dragon elders called for fire and death. Human commanders whispered of treason and betrayal. Patrols grew heavier. Scouts flew lower. The bond between soldier and dragon had given them strength, but it had also painted a target on their backs. Every step forward was a step closer to war. And somewhere, deep inside the hatchling, a spark was growing, a fire waiting to wake. The soldier had grown used to running. Every day was another march through mud, another night hiding in caves, another morning scanning the sky for shadows. But this night felt different. The air was too still. The forest was too quiet. Even the river nearby seemed to hold its breath. The hatchling sensed it first. Its golden eyes widened, wings twitching nervously as it pressed against the soldier's leg. A soft growl escaped its throat, a warning too small for the danger creeping close. The soldier gripped his rifle. His instincts screamed at him, "They found us." He crouched low, pulling the hatchling close, eyes searching the treeline. Then he saw them, shapes moving in the dark. Human shapes, soldiers in armor, rifles raised, spreading out in a line. His own kind. "Surround them," one voice whispered. "Don't let the traitor escape." The soldier's chest tightened. His own brothers in arms now saw him as an enemy. He lifted the hatchling into his arms and backed toward the river. But before he could move far, a roar split the sky. The trees shook as a massive shadow swept overhead. A dragon. Its wings spanned wide, blocking the moonlight, its eyes glowing like embers. The soldier's heart sank. He was trapped. Humans in front, dragon above, nowhere to run. The hatchling whimpered, sensing the danger. The soldier held it tight, whispering, "Stay with me. Don't let go." Then the ambush began. Gunfire cracked through the night. The soldier dropped low, rolling behind a fallen log, bullets tearing through bark. He fired back, short bursts, forcing his old comrades into cover. But he was outnumbered, surrounded. Above, the dragon circled lower, its roar shaking the ground. Flames licked its jaws, ready to burn them both. The soldier's mind raced. He couldn't fight both sides. He couldn't even fight one. His only choice was to protect the hatchling, even if it cost his life. He turned, shielding the small body with his own as bullets tore the earth around them. A shot grazed his arm, blood dripping down his sleeve. He gritted his teeth, refusing to let go. The hatchling squealed in panic. Its tiny claws dug into his chest. Its wings thrashed wildly. For the first time, fear turned into something sharper. Anger. And then it happened. A deep rumble came from the hatchling's throat. Its golden eyes flared bright. The soldier felt heat against his chest, growing hotter, burning hotter. He looked down, wide-eyed, as smoke curled from the hatchling's jaws. The small creature opened its mouth, and fire erupted. It was not a weak spark, not a fragile flame. It was raw, blazing fury. A torrent of fire shot out, sweeping across the dark. The night lit up as if the sun had risen, soldiers stumbling back, shouting in panic as the blaze roared over them. Trees caught flame. Shadows leapt across the forest. The soldier could only stare. This tiny creature, abandoned and broken, now burned with power. Above, the circling dragon roared in shock, wings flaring wide. It had seen the spark. It had felt the fire. This hatchling was no weak outcast. This hatchling carried strength that should not have been possible. The soldiers screamed, some retreating, others firing blindly into the flames. The soldier took the chance, scooping the hatchling into his arms and running for the river. Bullets whizzed past him. Fire roared behind him. The world had turned into chaos. He splashed into the water, cold against his wounds, holding the hatchling close as smoke choked the sky. Behind him, the dragon above dived low, its massive body shaking the trees as it landed near the burning forest. Its eyes locked onto the hatchling, glowing with fury. The soldier staggered back, rifle raised, knowing it would do nothing. The dragon stepped closer, teeth bared, wings spreading wide. But the hatchling growled. A low, rumbling sound, far too deep for its size. Its small body shook, flames still glowing in its throat. It was no longer hiding. It was no longer weak. The soldier whispered through clenched teeth. "Easy, not yet." The massive dragon roared, shaking the ground, but for a brief second, it hesitated. It had seen what the hatchling was capable of. It had seen a flame too strong for one so young. The soldier took that second and ran, splashing through the river, disappearing into the night. The hatchling clung to him, still trembling, still glowing with fire. Only when the forest grew quiet again did the soldier stop, collapsing against a rock, chest heaving. His arm bled, his body ached, but his eyes stayed on the hatchling. The little dragon looked up at him, smoke still curling from its jaws. Its golden eyes were no longer filled with fear. They burned with something else now, strength, defiance, fire. The soldier placed a shaking hand on its back. His voice was hoarse but steady. "You're not weak. You never were." But deep inside, fear gnawed at him. The hatchling's fire had saved them, but it had also revealed them. Both humans and dragons would know now. They would hunt harder, faster. Neither side would allow a bond like this to live. The soldier looked out at the burning forest behind them. Smoke rose high into the night sky, a beacon that could be seen for miles. There was no turning back. The secret was out. The hatchling's fire had awakened, and with it, a war that neither side was ready for. The fire in the forest burned for days. Smoke rose into the sky like a black flag, and the world took notice. Scouts from nearby villages carried the story back to their commanders. Human officers whispered of betrayal, of a soldier protecting a dragon. Across the mountains, the dragon elders felt the tremor in the air, the awakening of fire where none should have been. Both sides prepared for war. The soldier and the hatchling moved through the wilderness, hunted at every turn. He wrapped his arm, still bleeding from the ambush, and carried the young dragon close. The hatchling was no longer just a frightened child. Its golden eyes glowed brighter, its fire stirred more easily. But that power only painted a bigger target on them both. At night, the soldier heard patrols nearby. Human soldiers moved with rifles ready, searching every cave, every path. By day, the shadow of dragons passed overhead, their roars echoing like thunder. They were surrounded, chased by two enemies who hated each other but wanted the same thing, the hatchling dead, and the human with it. The soldier whispered as they crouched in the dark. "We have no one, little one, no friends, no home, just each other." But he was wrong. On the edges of war there were always outcasts, those who no longer fit with their kind, refugees whose villages had burned, wanderers who had lost faith in orders and kings. Slowly, word spread of a human who walked with a dragon child. Some called him mad, some called him a traitor, but some called him a symbol of something else, hope. One night, as the soldier prepared to move camp, a figure stepped out from the trees. A woman, her face scarred, her uniform torn, carrying no banner. She raised her hands and said softly, "I don't want to fight. I want to see if it's true." The soldier raised his rifle, but the hatchling peeked from behind him, golden eyes glowing in the dark. The woman gasped. She lowered to her knees. "It is true," she whispered. "A dragon and a man together. Maybe the world can change." Others came in the following days. A farmer who had lost his family to dragon fire. A deserter tired of fighting wars he didn't believe in. Even a crippled dragon, wing torn from an old battle, who had been cast out by its own kind. They all came for one reason, to see the impossible bond between human and dragon. To see proof that hatred was not the only path. But while a small circle of allies gathered, armies gathered faster. On the horizon, fires lit the night as human battalions marched into the valleys. Cannons rolled across muddy fields. Commanders shouted orders. They would destroy the traitor before he infected more with his madness. Above the mountains, dragon flocks assembled, wings beating the air like drums. Their elders roared commands. Their fire blackened the clouds. They would kill the hatchling before it grew strong enough to shame their kind. The soldier stood at the edge of a cliff, the hatchling beside him. He saw the torches of the human army in the distance, stretching like a river of light. He heard the thunder of dragon wings shaking the sky. His allies looked to him with fear, but also with trust. The hatchling pressed against his leg, wings folding tight. Its body trembled, but its eyes burned bright. The soldier knelt down, placing a hand on its back. "This is it," he said quietly. "They're both coming. They won't stop, but we won't run anymore." The baby dragon chirped softly, then opened its mouth. A small puff of smoke curled out, ready to become fire. The ground shook as the first clash began. Human cannons fired, their thunder echoing through the valley. Explosions ripped through the forest. Trees splintered, earth split, smoke filled the air. Dragons swooped down in swarms, their fire raining from the sky, turning the battlefield into a sea of flame. Soldiers screamed, shields raised, as wings tore through their lines. The soldier and his small band were caught in the middle. He fired his rifle, taking down men he once called brothers. He rolled for cover, shouting for his allies to scatter. Around him, chaos ruled. The hatchling leapt into the air, wings beating wildly. It was not ready for war, not ready for battle, but instinct drove it. It let out a roar high and sharp, and spit a stream of fire that cut through the smoke. A squad of soldiers stumbled back, their rifles falling from their hands. Above, a dragon spotted the hatchling. Its eyes widened with rage. With a furious roar, it dived, fire spewing from its jaws. "Move!" the soldier shouted, diving to shield the hatchling. The flames scorched the ground inches away, heat searing his skin. He fired upward, bullets sparking against the dragon's scales. The crippled dragon ally threw itself into the path, wings torn but still strong enough for one last fight. The two beasts collided, roaring, claws tearing, fire meeting fire. The battlefield became a storm of screams and thunder. Humans fired at dragons. Dragons burned humans. Allies tried to hold the line, but they were few, too few. The soldier held the hatchling close, his heart pounding. He knew they could not win, not against both sides. But he also knew this moment was more than survival. Every soldier who saw them fight together. Every dragon who saw the hatchling protect a human. Every witness who lived through this night would carry the memory. A seed planted in the ashes. Still, the battle raged, and survival was far from certain. The soldier reloaded, blood on his hands, eyes burning from smoke. The hatchling crouched at his side, wings spread, fire glowing in its throat. Two worlds had come to destroy them. Two armies had turned the night into hell. And in the center of it stood one man and one dragon, refusing to bow, refusing to break. The battlefield was a graveyard of fire and steel. Smoke covered the valley, and the night sky glowed red from burning trees. Human soldiers lay scattered among shattered cannons. Dragon corpses smoldered where they had fallen, their wings broken, their fire gone cold. But still the war raged. The soldier knelt behind a boulder, reloading his rifle with trembling hands. His ears rang from the thunder of cannons. His skin blistered from heat. The hatchling pressed against his side, its golden eyes glowing bright in the dark. It trembled, but it did not back away. Above them, dragons circled, their shadows passing through the smoke like ghosts. Below, human squads regrouped, rifles raised, bayonets fixed. Both sides closed in, driven by hate that no bullet or fire could wash away. The soldier knew this was the end. He whispered to the hatchling, "They'll never stop. Not for me. Not for you. Unless." The hatchling tilted its head, its chest glowing with fire. The soldier looked at the battlefield, at the rivers of blood, at the burning sky. His heart was heavy with a truth he had tried to ignore. This was not a war between armies. It was a war between futures. One of hate or one of hope. And only one could survive tonight. With a deep breath, he stood. He climbed the boulder and raised his rifle high, not to fire but to be seen. His allies shouted in fear, begging him to hide, but he ignored them. The hatchling scrambled up beside him, wings spread, chest glowing with light. Together they stood against the fire and steel. For a moment the battlefield froze. Soldiers lowered their rifles. Dragons paused in mid-dive. All eyes turned to the sight of a man and a dragon side by side. The soldier shouted across the valley, his voice raw and broken but strong enough to carry. "You wanted to kill us both. You wanted to erase us. But look at us. We are not enemies. We are family. If you burn us, you burn the future itself." His words echoed through the smoke. Some soldiers faltered. Some dragons hissed uncertainly. For the first time, doubt cracked through the wall of hate. But the commanders would not listen. From the human lines, an officer roared, "Fire!" From the dragon skies, an elder shrieked, "Burn them!" The valley erupted again. Bullets tore the air. Fire rained from the sky. The soldier held the hatchling close as death closed in. He braced for the end. But the hatchling roared. It was not the cry of a frightened child. It was the voice of something greater. The sound split the battlefield, shaking trees, shattering stone. Light burst from its chest, brighter than fire, brighter than the sun. A wave of heat swept out in every direction, but it did not burn. It pushed. The fire in the sky was blown back. Bullets melted in mid-air. Dragons tumbled, wings folding, as if struck by an unseen storm. Soldiers fell to their knees, shields ripped from their hands. The battlefield went silent beneath the roar of one small dragon. When the light faded, the hatchling stood trembling, its eyes glowing with power beyond its years. Smoke curled from its body, but it did not fall. It pressed its head against the soldier's chest, as if to say, "I choose you." No one moved. Humans stared in shock. Dragons hovered above, wings uncertain. The impossible had happened before their eyes. A bond no one could deny. The scarred woman, the first ally, stepped forward. She raised her voice so all could hear. "Look, look at them. This is not hate. This is not war. This is what we could be." Others joined her cry. The crippled dragon roared weakly, spreading its torn wings. The deserters, the wanderers, the broken ones. All shouted, all stood tall. A choice lay before the battlefield. Kill them and return to endless war. Or believe in the impossible and let a new beginning rise. The commanders snarled orders, but fewer obeyed now. Soldiers lowered their rifles, refusing to fire. Some threw their weapons into the mud. Dragons circled uncertainly, growls fading into silence. The soldier looked around, heart pounding. He saw fear, but also something else. The first spark of hope. He raised the hatchling high, his voice carrying once more. This is the future. Not me, not you, us. Together. For the first time in generations, humans and dragons did not fight. They stood in silence, watching a man and a hatchling side by side. The war was not won with bullets. It was not won with fire. It was won with a single choice: to believe. The armies withdrew that night. Not in peace, not in unity, but in silence. The fire died slowly, leaving the valley scarred but alive. The soldier carried the hatchling through the smoke, his allies beside him. Behind them, the battlefield lay quiet, the first quiet it had known in centuries. The soldier knew the war was not over. Hate does not vanish in a single night. But he also knew something new had begun. A story had been born, a story that no commander could erase. A man and a dragon who chose each other. A family where none should exist. And stories have power. As dawn broke, the hatchling stretched its wings. For the first time, it did not look like prey. It did not look like a monster. It looked like the future. The soldier placed a hand on its back, his voice low. "We're not done, little one. This is only the beginning." Together, they walked into the rising sun. Not as enemies, not as outcasts, but as the first of something new.